Hello and welcome to this episode of our Decan Walk, where Ant and I are walking the zodiac in the 10-day slices of each sign. For those of you who are tuning in for the first time, the way this works is that we're two artists that are creating tarot as we walk the zodiac, and each 10-day slice of each sign has a minor arcana card associated with it. So we're sharing our artwork for each minor arcana card as we walk, and we reveal our two very different types of art. Ant does beautiful detailed graphite artwork, and I create colourful wave mandalas that are based on the astrology chart. And the chart I use is the very first step into each decan. So we go through the artwork. Ant starts off with his art, then I will share my art as well as talk about the astrology, the chart that I've used to create my mandalas. Then we talk about the typical associations and meanings of the card, as well as our experience, our lived experience of the decan that's just gone. And last but not least, we each choose a song to represent the card, and we share the song and the reason why we've chosen the song. That's it. That's how we go through each part of our walk. I'm really interested to learn what is behind the latest artwork for this decan, Gemini-flavoured Gemini, and the ruler of this, or sub-ruler I should say, for this decan is Jupiter. So it's Jupiter in Gemini and the 8 of Swords. I love this artwork. And I'm like, I know I said last session that, that was my favorite card. And when you sent this to me, I'm thinking, oh gosh, okay, is this now going to be my new favorite? And then when I've put the LightSong overlay on it, it's like, oh my gosh, yes, this is definitely competing with the 7 of Pentacles for top spot for me.
Yeah, I understand why it's up there in competition with these 7 of Pentacles. It's so energetic. It's a story. It's 1,000 stories in one image. This card, it literally represents to me the energy of what this card means to me. And I've been in this energy in this decan, and it's been very painful, and it's been much of a struggle trying to hold things together and hold things up. And maybe it could have been done in a different way than I initially had done things, but yeah, this card represents pretty much obviously the same meaning as the traditional tarot. Instead of the woman with the blindfold and she's free to move and she's embracing her own illusionary kind of entrapment, if you like, that mental prison. Here the journey is literally holding up half a mountain piece. We don't know, but whatever it is, it's colossal and it's weighty, and it takes a lot of strength that's impossible for the man himself to hold up. But as you see behind him, he's actually supported, the whole structure is supported by obviously the base. But in his mind, he doesn't see that. He doesn't see that what is around him, what is constructed around him, is actually supported, and what he's trying to hold on to, kind of take the weight of all the emotional pressure and everything else and strain. He really doesn't have to. He can release at any time. He can walk forwards. He can move backwards into behind him is a door that leads into something that we don't know. That is the unseen. And it's about having trust. He can go left or he can go right. But this image shows that the swords are suggesting that they're encasing him into a spot where he can't move, where he clearly can, because there's an opening in the middle and he can move at any given time. And it is literally representative of that from my perspective as the journeyer. I think I really captured what I wanted to bring across in this drawing. I say every week, Leanne, you know, I love this card, but I literally do love this card. I'll never forget the energy of the Decan that we're in, the Eight of Swords energy. It's taught me a lot. It's grown me a lot. I've moved a lot. It means a lot. Yeah, and it was a pleasure to draw. It was lovely to draw, and it's nice to get my hands into more detailed work in this deck, because I want to bring all my kind of areas of art. You know, I love mandala, I love Zentangles, I love photorealism, hyperrealism, slight little bits of abstract and surrealism. And if I can get all those modalities into this deck, I'm happy. And I've managed to get some kind of different kind of style of art in there, and I'm happy. Why does this card sing to you so much? Why do you like it so much, Liam? What is it?
I guess it's a very Aquarian thing. It reminds me of the statue, The Thinker, which is a very Aquarian statue. And it also reminds me much more direct reference of, you know, the classical image of the man holding up the world. And I love how you've managed to portray the weight of, I'm assuming this is like granite, that he's holding up, but doesn't need to be holding up. And then, yeah, I don't know, it's just the symmetry. I mean, I love the Robert Mapplethorpe. Are you familiar with his work?
No.
So he was he's a photographer, photographic artist. His girlfriend was Patti Smith, and he did this series of naked black men, and this reminds me of that aesthetic. And I'll have to pull out the image that I have in my head to actually put it beside this, so when you watch this back and the viewers can see why it's brought to mind Robert Mapplethorpe. Yes, he did some pretty racy stuff. Like a lot of his work with flowers, so orchids in particular. He was very famous for his photos of orchids and, you know, the sexual parts of flowers. And it was all black and white. His work was black and white photography, really honing in on light, you know, capturing light. This, to me, has that same quality. It's capturing the light and the dark.
Very much so. There's a lot of contrast. Yeah.
Yes. And the swords, almost like when you see in the military and they, you know, march out and their colleagues will have, you know, swords up like this, and then they walk underneath. It's almost like there's been colleagues there, but all the swords have been put down. There's no longer a walkway there. It's almost like a resignation of sorts. Yeah, it really does speak to me. I love this image. And I wanted to ask, what is that little thing in the foreground? And
That is a rock.
aha, okay. Yeah, love it. Love it. Here is the light songs, the above and below. And this is the earth light song and the cosmic light song for the Eight of Swords chart. And here is the chart and the pattern that I have rendered as a light song. Jupiter, as I said earlier, is the sub-ruler for this decan. And Jupiter is all about expansion. It's also joy. So Jupiter is known as one of the benefics in astrology. Venus is the other benefic. So they bring benefits typically. However, in Gemini, Jupiter is in his what they call detriment because he's the furthest away from his home in Gemini. Jupiter is the focal point because Jupiter is the sub-ruler for this decan and for this card. And so that's where I start. And the strongest aspect is this green line from Jupiter to Venus. So from Jupiter is known as the greater benefic and Venus as the lesser benefic. So from one beneficial planet to the other is the strongest aspect from Jupiter. And it's a line of creative energy. It's a quintile, it's 72 degrees. That was my starting point, and then I realized that it was part of a joined up pattern, an actual, I always call this a golden triangle because typically this is drawn with yellow. But because bright yellow could be quite hard to see, I didn't use yellow, I've used the green. This is a triangle of creative talent. Jupiter, Venus, and Pluto. So the expander, the goddess of love, and the transformer. And it's fire and air, and fire at the apex point of that triangle. And then I've drawn in here, or included in here, the grand fire trine that Venus is involved in, because she's at the apex of this golden triangle, she's also one of the points of the grand fire trine. So it felt like this wanted to be included in our pattern. And it's interesting that it's with Mars. We have the greater benefic Jupiter, the lesser benefic Venus, and we have Mars and his higher octave, Pluto. So we've got this equal representation going on, is the only way I can kind of describe it. You've got the initiating active energy, then you've got the receptive feminine, Venusian energy. Then you have the transformative Pluto energy and the jolly, expansive growth energy of Jupiter. I think it's like a really lovely mix of energies for this card. And then to complete the grand fire trine is an asteroid, Astraea. And Astraea stands for justice, balance, and the pursuit of fairness. And that echoes some of what Jupiter represents also, because Jupiter can sometimes be, related to the law, justice. It's an interesting mix and balance of masculine, feminine. Balance is in there with Astraea. It feels in line with the energies of card. And also when you think about justice, well, I think about, you know, the statue of justice, which is literally like the typical image of this card of a woman blindfolded. So the justice statue is a woman blindfolded holding some scales. And then when I look at this pattern, it is reminiscent of the very triangular drawing. This is a triangle. The swords are forming a triangle. So it's almost like the pattern in the light song is echoing the double triangle. This pattern is like, if you imagine like the point of the swords is here, and then, you know, he's in the background here, and then you've got the granite above and behind him along here.
Absolutely. There's those two triangular formations, or suggested. Absolutely. It's lovely to see the synchronicity. If you turn the green one on its side, it literally is the angle of that the swords are going in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So the man holding up the world, is it Hercules?
It's Atlas.
Atlas. Yes, of course it's Atlas.
It's very much the journey in the drawing. Very much, I see that connection instantly. What you're saying with Atlas, because it is very much that kind of same kind of image, bearing the weight of the world, if you like.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
after this, I'm going to go and look to see where Atlas is in this chart. It'll be interesting to see where Atlas is, and if Atlas is anywhere of note, then I will pop it in as a postscript overlay. Here we have all of the asteroid influences. I have only included a pool of light to denote the conjunction of Venus and jobs, which is career, work, and vocation, because it is exactly the same degree, 14 degrees of Aries, and because Venus is the one that is at the apex point, the common denominator for both triangles. But here you can see the other influences from being brought in from the asteroids. With Jupiter, again, like I said, the greater benefic, and has Fortuna with him, which is luck, fortune, and success, which is very Jupiterian. I think that's a valid word, Jupiterian. Then we've got Venus, as I said, with career, work, and vocation. Mars with karma, consequences of past actions and the lessons of cause and effect. That speaks to the image that you've drawn as well, and I feel. I already covered Australia, and then we have Moira, fate, destiny, and the cycles of life. That all feels like it's like of a theme that works in and weaves in with each other. Then we have the above and below, the two light songs, the cosmic and the earthly light song. And now we're going to get to the card and your work and my work combined.
Oh. Oh, look at them swords. To be fair now, they really bring that drawing to life. I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. The light songs are just perfect.
The swords are a mix. Even though they look like they're all identical, they're actually four of each. Four of the earth and four of the sky. And I chose to only use the blade, not the hilt,
I
because
love that.
it didn't feel like it, it didn't feel right
Mm.
to fill in the hilt. It felt like the light wanted to be in the actual blade itself.
The power of the blade. Good call.
Yeah,
Good call. It looks absolutely fabulous. Mate, it's an amazing card, isn't it?
it's beautiful. Yeah, I love it. We're going to move on to the experience of the Eight of Swords. First, I'm going to cover the traditional meaning, and then a few meanings from the deck that I use, Druidcraft, and then I'm going to ask Ant how he experienced this decan, and then I'll share how I experienced it. So here is the Rider-Waite-Smith traditional meaning of this card. And down here are the dates, the 10-day slice, the first slice of Gemini, which I said before is the Gemini-flavoured Gemini. And the traditional meanings is all pretty dire, if you ask me. It's like it doesn't feel like there's any hope in the write-up of this, and yet the image itself is, she's in touch with the water, in touch with her intuition. So even though she's blindfolded, she's able to feel her way through the swords. Well, that's how I read the image of this card, and yet the words here don't really speak to that. Whereas the Druidcraft does speak to this. This is a slightly different image of a blindfolded woman. And it does talk about the restriction, but also the potential for liberation. Like your mind can be as much the prison as it can be the freedom. And then also the reverse meaning of breaking free of the restrictions. Then, one of the things it had there was quarreling in a relationship. That might be something that shows up if Eight of Swords comes into a reading. And then also, I put this in here because I found that interesting that it had, warning against spiteful gossip. If you're a person having a reading and this comes up, it's warning you to not be a gossip. Those are the meanings or some of the meanings, traditional meanings for this card. How did you experience this decan, Hank?
I was fortunate. I mean, I was fortunate to be in a mindset where I can navigate this energy. For example, if there was somebody who was going through absolutely identical to me, who hadn't done as much work mentally on themselves, let's say, for argument's sake, they would have struggled and they would have let the whole situation that I've just been through consume them and drag them down, and possibly let that energy take them even lower into areas that they don't necessarily need for themselves. But I held tight and I embraced everything that I know, everything that I am, and I got through it. And it was painful, but it wasn't as painful as it could have been had I not began to love myself many years ago. Yeah, it was very, very much the image in the card was very much felt by myself, although I understood that I wasn't mentally trapped. I did leave that rock to itself and walked through the swords to freedom and sat in a free mindset. And the outcome of it all is my initial belief that everything happens for a reason. Nothing is happening to you, it's happening for you. You know, everything is designed to guide you in the right direction, whether you can see the positive in it, whether you can see the lesson in it. That's the way the universe works, you know. And it's left me at the end of it, ironically, with a clearer path moving forward. And my mind is settled and I'm at peace with the energy that has just been. But I'm glad it has been and gone. And I'm glad and fortunate that I've grown from it and didn't let it get me. Yourself, Leanne, any resemblance to this energy this week?
So our last session, I have only just finished the edit and got it uploaded and everything else, and it's taken me twice as long as it normally would. And it's because I feel like I've been like this, you know, like the journeyer. I've had all of these things on my plate, and instead of and I didn't feel like I had the capacity to deal with any of them, and I distracted myself with other things, wasting time rather than being productive with it, you know, being completely transparent. And it's only just since we've come out, you know, just as we were getting towards the end of this 8 of Swords Decan, have I felt like I've come back to being able to focus and get things done, even though all the things I've got on my plate are good things. At the very beginning of the 8 of Swords, there was some easing of financial limitations, because in our last session, I was talking about I'm done with being patient and I'm ready. And yes, it showed up. And then, like I said, got distracted.
It just proves the point, though, Leanne. You know, we've both been through, and as has everybody else. But it's how you react. It's how you react with the energy. It's how you react with the bullshit that's there, all the chaos and everything else. And you know, we both sit here today and we see the positive and we're happy with the outcome.
We've now reached the part where we talk about what song we have chosen for the card and why. What song did you choose, Ant, and why?
Imagine Dragon, Believer. What a song. And it's all about that journey of beginning to believe and beginning to see other things through the pain that you're experiencing. And it's a song that pain actually heals. And I love that. I love that. And I heard this song years, you know, for a few years, ever since it first came out, but I never really sat and listened to the lyrics. It's always just, like many songs, they're just tunes in my mind. They're tunes in the background. They're on the radio. And I rarely listen to lyrics. And it was only the last few days I've really been listening to the lyrics. And what a song, what a powerful song, and what a great message to people. And this song, yeah, Believer, is literally, have that belief. Be grateful for the joy within the chaos that is coming. Be grateful for the healing within the pain. Speaks to me.
First things first, I'ma say all the words inside my head. I'm fired up and tired of the way that things have been. Oh, ooh, the way that things have been. Oh, ooh. Second thing, second, don't you tell me what you think that I can be. I'm the one at the sail, I'm the master of my sea. Oh, ooh, the master of my sea. Oh, ooh. I was broken from a young age, taking my soak into the masses, writing my poems for the few that look at me, took to me, shook at me, feeling me, singing from heartache, from the pain, taking my message from the veins, speaking my lesson from the brain, seeing the beauty through the... you burn me up, believer, believer. Hey, you break me down, you burn me up, believer, believer. Hey, let the bullets fly, or let them rain. My life, my love, my time, it came from. Hey, you burn me up, believer, believer.
Amazing. I see why you chose this song. And it's very Pluto. I hear Pluto in that song because it's all about the transformation that comes from going through some really tough stuff. That is so Pluto. And also, I feel and hear and see the card that you drew. You know, even the sound of pain, like, you know, that real bass feels like the granite that he's holding up.
Yeah, it certainly has that energy.
Yeah.
Certainly does.
For sure. For sure. Love it. Love the song.
Such a powerful song. Reinforcing. Yeah. What's your song?
Wow, mine's very different vibe.
Right.
It's like the contrast. I was thinking, what song am I going to choose for this? Dropping. What song? And it's, I can see clearly now.
I love that song. Absolutely love that song. Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
It's the other side of the
Yeah.
pain. Right?
I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright sunshine day. It's gonna be a bright sunshine day. I think I can make it now. The pain is gone. All of the bad feelings have disappeared. Here is that rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright sunshine day.
Very interesting. Both songs have the word pain in them, right? And yeah, it took me a while for this song to come through because I'm like, oh, what songs? I was thinking, is there like, you know, something about being blind, or because, you know, the card is very much about not being able to see. And then, I mean, this is such an old song. I was 4 years old when it came out. I don't think you were even born. So yeah, it's, yeah, very old song, but for me captures the card as in, you know, once you get rid of that veil of your own mental veil, you can see clearly. And for me, it was coming out of that kind of, you know, distraction, mental distractions, to come out and be able to see the obstacles and start making progress. Yeah.
Getting out of your own way.
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh, great song. So reflective. Yeah, so resonant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Two great songs.
Yeah. Well, they're both great songs.
And as you say, they're kind of very suggestive, similarly suggestive, but they're both ends of the spectrum. They have different kind of.
They're a great balance, right?
Yeah.
They actually encapsulate the energies of the chart, you know, that juxtaposition of Venus Mars, of Jupiter Pluto. right?
How I see that.
Because you've got the joy of Jupiter and the depth and dark of Pluto.
Mm.
I've only got a little thing to add with the lyrics that I picked out specifically from the song I Can See All Obstacles in My Way, Gone Are the Dark Clouds, i.e. my own distracting thoughts that had me blind. And yeah, looking forward, it's going to be bright. So I went and had a quick look at Johnny Nash's birth chart. And there's definitely a south node vibe going on. So his south node is very close to the Venus apex point. So his south node is 13 degrees 16 Aries, which is just over 1 degree with the Venus of this chart. And like I said, the Venus that is the apex point. And the south node is really past lives and things coming in from beyond the veil. So yes, it's almost like from beyond the grave, you know, he's singing his song. And then Neptune, which is to do with music. If there's any planet that is associated with music, it is Neptune. And his Neptune is with this charts, our cards charts, south node by 6 minutes. For me, this song dropping in when I was struggling to think, oh man, what song am I going to choose? And then, yeah, so this is like Johnny Nash dropping in his 2 pence worth from beyond the grave for this Decan in this car. Do you know what I've just realized? Imagine dragons. Imagine dragons. Neptune is about the imagination. The south node is the tail of the dragon.
Of course, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Synchronicities are always endless. They're there. You just have to see them.
It just hit me. I'm like, oh my gosh. For every session, there is the artwork is available to purchase if you love the artwork as much as we do and maybe even want to put it on your wall. It's available, and I have the details are in the video description, so you can follow the link to the site where you can make a purchase if it calls to you. But other than that, it's been a very interesting swordsy journey, and we will continue. We're in the 9 of Swords now. Thank you for joining us, and if you have a song choice that you want to share with us, pop that in the comments. But for now, from my heart's light to yours, bye for now.